Hello and welcome to Paper Plays Julie K.
Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for stopping by to check out my latest video. And today I'm going to construct my envelope flip journal that I will be using for the hashtag Little Bits of Lace 2024. I've already worked on some different pieces that I'm going to put inside of this journal, but today I'm actually going to construct it. And I thought I would pop on to show you guys how I'm going to put it together, especially for those of you who have never put together an envelope flip journal. What I really like about the envelope flip journals is you can use all sorts of envelopes and you can intermix them and make them do different flips and flaps and different things. And so basically, like, you start off with some sort of envelope. I usually like to start off with a larger envelope, and oftentimes I will also add in a signature on the inside, a writing signature, besides having all the interactive elements of the flips. And then I just play with whatever different envelopes I have in my stash, whether they're some little ones or big ones, and I kind of play with them to add in to create flips in my journal. So this one I already folded because I was maybe thinking about doing a small one. But like this one, you could glue this down here, and that gives you a flap on your journal. And then if this was part of it, I would go ahead and add like another flap. You could add a flap, then you could glue it here. You can either glue it over, or else you can attach it like this way also and glue it down. So if I wanted to glue it right there, I could do that on my journal. And I might take maybe one of these smaller envelopes, and again I could do the same thing. I would attach it somehow, and then again you can open it up. And then what you do is you can either use this as your way to add some sort of element, a journal card or a tag, or you could cover this with a piece of paper and snip off the top or the side and insert something that way. Usually I try to make sure all of my envelopes have something in them. I just alter how I add them to it. So that was kind of a real brief tutorial on how I put my pieces together. And you can add as many as you want or as few envelopes as you want. And I know some ladies out there construct some beautiful ones, and all they use is envelopes. They don't add any signatures, but I like to add signatures. And I will have a couple of previous ones that I've made. I'll link those below in the description box so you guys can check those out if you want. And for today's episode, like I said, I do have a signature ready to go for the inside of mine, and I'm not going to sew it in today. I'm just going to construct the envelope part of it. I think there's a lot of tutorials already out there on how to actually sew in your signatures, but if you guys want to see me sew into my journal, let me know, and if I read those comments soon enough, I'll try to pop on and record when I do that. But I am using different junk envelopes from my stash, and the paper that I'm using is from Hobby Lobby. It's Paper Studio, and it's called Distress Floral. And so I've already gone ahead because I want to cover my envelopes. Some people like to construct their journals first and then cover them. Whatever works for you is completely fine. This one, I do have some smaller envelopes. I have like a CD envelope. I have a lot of different envelopes. And I've kind of already somewhat constructed it. I just haven't glued it together. So that's what I thought I would pop on and do with you guys, just so you can kind of see my process. So to begin with, I decided I might start off with this really small envelope. And what I ended up doing on this one is, you can see I did cut out some of that paper pad and I sewed around the edges. And then on this side of it, I actually punched out a tab before I sewed around it. I did ink all my edges, and so I'm going to glue this one down here. And then you can also see I did snip off this part of the envelope. Here's how you normally would use the envelope, but since I'm going to glue this down on there, I'm going to use the envelope this way. So hopefully that makes sense. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and glue down part of this paper. I'm not quite sure if this will be like a one-part or two-part video. I'm not sure how long this is going to take me to glue everything down and show you guys all the steps. This is, you know, fairly thick cardstock, which is nice. So I'm going to glue that onto this side of the envelope. And I did sit and play with these envelope pieces for quite a while before I filmed. And at one point also, I had it all put together and then I tipped them off of my desk and they all got out of order. So it took me another day to figure out how I had wanted to construct my envelope flip journal. And I did distress using Victorian velvet is the color that I went around all my envelopes and the paper. Like I said, if you wanted to, you could very easily construct these journals first with all your envelopes and then go ahead and add your paper. But I kind of did it this way just because I wanted to have all my pieces figured out since I wanted to sew around them and have them already kind of cut to size. So again, this one I did cut off the bottom part of the envelope, and since I glued down here, that kind of sealed it in. So then my next envelope is this little bit longer envelope. And you can see I have another sheet for the top and also for the bottom. This one I chose to cut off the top of the envelope. Hopefully that's showing up on camera. And again, once I glue this down, I'll be able to use the top pocket on this one. But what I want to do is for this piece right here, is I am going to glue this envelope kind of underneath this piece right here for this flip. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little glue just right on the top of this envelope here. And I can decide if I want this more towards the bottom or towards the top or in the middle. So I think I'm just going to put it in the middle. I think I'm okay with that. And right now, like I said, I'm just gluing it onto the piece of cardstock. And when you flip it open, I will have a little pocket here for something fun. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this to the top of this envelope. And this envelope, I did choose to cut off the top for my next pocket. I do believe that there are a lot of other ladies on YouTube that have like complete tutorials on this from start to finish. I just decided, like I said, to do some of this on my own before I started filming. Otherwise, it would just take so long to cut all the pieces with you guys and decorate it that I wanted to already have it somewhat figured out. And so on this one, because as you can see, this envelope is open right here, I am only going to put some glue right down here and then along here because I don't want to glue this paper on here completely so that my pocket's not functional. So I'll show you guys how I do that. So I'm just going to put some glue around the outside of the envelope, and then I'm also going to glue some right here on the very edge. Then I should still be able to open up my pocket on the top. And it's still functional just because of how I glued down this sheet of paper. And so if I believe correctly, I was going to hook this one back here, but I'm not ready to glue that one down yet, so I'm just going to let it sit. So here's my next little piece that I had, my next envelope. So let's go ahead and just glue the top on this one. It's a CD envelope, and sorry about the glare. And I just used one of my die cut circles to cut out a circle in the middle of the square is what I did, so that I could can still see inside this window envelope, this CD envelope. And you can kind of see on the back side of this one, then I'm also going to hook it under the same one that I'm going to hook this one to. But we might as well decorate the back side first. And again, I just have this, and I'm hoping that if I glue this down correctly, I can still grab this out. So I think I will be able to do that. So, and I just put a blank journal card on the inside that I sewed around. So if you're wondering, otherwise it's kind of boring. And I'll probably add little bits of lace on the outside of this one. I just haven't got to that far yet, obviously. So let's go ahead and glue this piece down. And then I can stick this journal card if I want back on the inside. So that one's going to eventually get hooked underneath here, but let's get this envelope prepped up here, and then we'll put all three of these together. So here's another smaller sized envelope. And so I'm just going to again glue down. And this one you can see I cut off this side as my way to insert something fun. Then on the back side of this envelope, again, I'm going to be very careful when I glue this down. I'm just going to put some glue here and around here because I want to still be able to use the top part of this pocket. So I'll hold that up close so you can kind of see where my glue lines are. Again, I'm being very careful not to put glue right here because I want to be able to use it as a pocket. So from the other side, as you guys can see, I should be able to, since I was careful on how I glued it. It's still kind of gluing here. I don't want to open it, but you can see that I can still use it as a pocket for my envelope flip. So that one's going to go on the top here. So I have another large envelope right here, and so I'm going to glue all these pieces down onto this piece of paper that's going to get glued onto there. So, well, let's start with the bottom CD envelope. So once I glue that one down, I'll be able to flip it down, and then I can still access the journal card from the bottom of this one. And I wanted to glue this one on the top here. So let's go ahead and glue this one down. Yeah, I think these types of journals are really fun to make. They're just kind of fun to play with. And so that one still opens. And then also on the back side of this one, I want to glue this one down. This was, I got to decide here which. So it looks like, and I can't even remember now. That's a problem sometimes when I do these, is trying to remember which way I want to glue them. I thought I wanted to start, I could glue it this way. Or I could glue it onto the inside of this envelope. But then that wouldn't make sense with the way I made the pocket, so it goes this way. I just kind of forgot there. So it'll be like this, and then you can, flip it that way, open it this way, or if I want, I could also have it this way. So there's a couple different choices on how you do the flips once it's attached. So again, I'm going to glue then this back side of the envelope. And I'm just gluing on to the piece of paper that's going to go on top of this envelope. So I'm just going to double check to make sure everything's flipping, that I know where all my tops are and that they're easy to access. And then this is just kind of a plain piece of paper, and it looks like I glued it upside down, but that's okay. The words are upside down. I should have had it the other way, which I guess I could do like this then. Let's look at that and see. Because this would flip down. And but then I have this upside down, and that's what I don't want to do. So I'll just deal with the fact that I glued this piece of paper on upside down. I can always add some sort of decorative element to that later on if if it bugs me too much. And so again, this piece of cardstock that I glued those 3 envelopes to, I'm going to glue onto this envelope. And I have a couple more envelopes under here. So I did want to show you that I did start off with a big envelope right here. That must have fallen out of something. And I did do a window thing here, which will get put on. I think that one's going to get sewn on there or glued on. I'm just trying to remember how I had this. So we just completed this part of it with the 3 envelopes onto the back, and I'm just going to set it right here for a second. So I have another envelope, and you can see this one was sealed shut, and this one I actually cut off the top and the side because I wanted to show you, if you had something like that where the envelope was already sealed, you can easily just fold a piece of cardstock and you can make your own flap, which is what I'm going to do with this one. And I'm going to put it on this way. So hopefully that makes sense. So this one has, it's an envelope, it was already closed, and so I cut off the top and I cut off one of the sides, and I cut a piece of cardstock, and I did decorate the part that's going to be showing. But I am going to slip this into the side or the top of the envelope because I'm going to use it this way. So let's do that first. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue. And I'm going to put that inside this envelope. So it's quite easy to add flaps. You could also add flaps on the outsides of your envelopes too, if you want, if you've already sealed them shut, and to make your flips if you want. But again, I like to make sure all of my envelopes have some sort of opening so that I can pull out a journal card or a tag or something like that. And so for this one, then I'm going to put glue on this side of the tab, and I'm going to glue it to this sheet of paper right here. And then I'm also going to, since this envelope's still open, I'm going to put a little bit of glue right in here also. And I shouldn't have done that because then I'm going to close I'll just do a smaller tag in there. I should have just put glue on the end of this one instead of, I'm just going to wipe it down. I have put too much glue. Sorry about that, guys. I'm making mistakes right and left here, but I'm actually just going to stop the video and let that dry because I don't want to accidentally add anything there. So I'm going to let that dry, so I will be right back, and I'll show you guys how I'm going to fix my mistake here. Sorry about that, guys, but I do believe in showing you guys if you make mistakes. And again, what I accidentally did is I meant to only, we were gluing down this tab. And this part I did just fine, and I glued it inside the envelope. But the envelope is still open, and I didn't want to, and I put too much glue on this tab. I just want to glue on the very end because I want to make sure that this is a functional pocket. And so I just wiped up the glue that was in here, and I think it's dried now, hopefully. I could have still used it as a functional pocket. It just would have been shorter, and I want to make it as full a pocket as possible to add, you know, a pretty large journal card in there. I'm just kind of rubbing my fingers across where the glue was just to make sure that it feels dry. And so I wiped it off, but then I let it dry with, I put that little paper towel under here just to hold it open. So now we're going to try that again. And this time I'm just going to glue, because I want to glue this envelope shut on this side. I'm just going to put just a little bit of glue just on the edge where it should have been in the first place. So even those crafters, even those of us who have been crafting for a long time, we still make mistakes. I make mistakes very often, and it's always, you know, most things you can fix or redo. If I had to, I could redo the envelope, so that's no big deal. So again, I'm just gluing onto this envelope here with this piece of paper. And so now I did that. And I'm going to glue this down on the back side, and we did this already on one of my episodes of little bits of lace, making lace pockets. So this is where this one's going to go. And then again, eventually I will put a journal card in here, and I think I'll have some lace sticking up from the top of the journal card so that you want to pull it out and use it. So we're going to go ahead and glue this one down. If you're using really thin paper, you probably want to use a glue stick, or you want to spread your glue out, but I don't worry, you know, scribbling like this when it's a little bit thicker cardstock, it'll dry just fine. But if you're using a thinner piece of paper as your cover paper, you probably want to use a little bit different glue than what I'm gluing with today. But since it's thicker cardstock, I don't have to worry about seeing any of that glue behind the cardstock. I guess I am running into problems because of the lace already, but that's okay. It just makes it a little chunkier. But I think that'll still work. It just hitting a little bit on that bead. If I have to, I'll just take that bead off, or that pearl off. But again, I'll be able to put something fun in this pocket eventually. Okay, so I'm going to go back to where we started with this little set of envelopes that we glued onto this piece of cardstock. And I'm going to glue this cardstock onto the top of this envelope. So now we have some nice little flippage going on our journal here. So here's what we have so far. We have that flip, and we can flip it this way. This one flips down, and this one flips up. And of course you can intermix these. If you would rather have this one on top, you could go that way too. It doesn't really matter. But I think I like this one showing more. And so then you can also flip it this way. So we're going to flip it this way, and then we have this little pocket here. And so this is going to get glued down onto this envelope right here. But first of all, I'm going to use this envelope here. And I got to decide, I'm going to glue it behind here. So, and I might glue it, I think I want to cover the window, so then it's kind of a surprise, a little bit of a surprise when you open up. So we're going to glue it to the top part up there. But first of all, let's just cover the envelope with the paper that I chose. And again, if you guys are following along, you can put all your envelopes together first and then add your paper. I just decided to do it this step all together. I just wanted to make sure that my paper fit, and I had kind of an idea of the order of my paper because I didn't want to use all the same paper from that paper pad. I want to intermix the colors or the papers in there. So then on the back side of this one, I did cut out the paper to make it look like this envelope because I'm actually going to use the envelope the way it's meant to be, to stick some sort of journal card in there. And later on, there will be a journal card in here. If I want, I could also glue down some paper on the inside of the envelope. If you wanted it a little bit more decorative, you could definitely do that. But for now, I'm just going to leave it. And so I'm going to go ahead and glue this envelope now to the back of this. And I might have to cut, just to be safe, I'm going to cut off just a little bit of this envelope just to make sure that I'm not gluing onto the window, because I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to cut off the end of that. And so I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to glue this sheet down to this envelope. And I did all this, like I said, before filming. I cut out all my windows. You can kind of see that I drew them in. I measured and I drew them in and I sewed the paper on them and did all that pre-work, I guess, before filming. But if you've never done one of these before, I would really encourage you just to mess around with a couple envelopes and just glue them together just to kind of get a basic idea on how to construct one. And then you can add your paper or decorate it. If you like to do mixed media, of course, you could paint your pages or your envelopes instead of adding paper. You could add digitals. This time I chose to do scrapbooking paper because I really like this scrapbooking paper pad. It's kind of shabby, and I thought that would be perfect for my little bits of lace journal. It's going to look, you know, elegant or whatever with the lace in this journal. And so you can see the inside of the envelope. What I liked about this envelope too is that the inside actually was kind of pretty. It's a kind of a little gray pattern. Sometimes I will hide the insides of my envelopes. I'll glue down another sheet of paper, but I think that one matches well enough with this journal. And again, I could even intermix this one from that we just glued down behind here. I could actually put that one here if I wanted to. So that's what I think is so fun about these journals, is there's so many different ways you can move the envelopes around. I mean, I could have that as my cover too, but I like this little one. But I think I kind of like that actually better than this showing. So I might do that, but it's fun to have this hidden a little bit. But like I said, there's no right or wrong. So maybe I'll do it that way. I kind of like that. But it might change if something gets too bulky. I might have to go back to my original plan. So that's the front. And then I'm not going to do this part because it's just gluing down paper on the inside of this one. And also this is the signature, which I will sew in another day. So I did have this envelope that we decorated. We did this in one of our episodes. We made these little Franken pages. And so I wanted to do this one on the inside back cover. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm also thinking down the road for some envelopes on this one, I might glue down some of these small ones somehow on the inside, maybe like this, after I've decorated them, because that might be kind of fun. So that's why I don't have anything planned yet for here, because I'm going to do something with the envelopes on the inside. But this one we can do right now. And so this one I'm just going to glue it down. And I will have links for all of my previous episodes of Little Bits of Lace in the description box if you guys do want to check it out. Again, I'm just following that hashtag, trying to use up little bits of lace, but I did want a complete journal to put in all of my little bits of lace ideas. So far, I'm just working off of some of my ideas, and then I will continue to add to it after maybe I've watched a few other people's videos. I've watched a few out there that some of the ladies have had, and if I think about it, I will try to link some of their videos below in the description box. I know a couple of people have done like snippet rolls and something, you know, decorating journal cards and some different things like that with their lace. So I'll try to link some of those in my description box if I remember. So there's that one, and then this one has, I cut off the top of this envelope is kind of what my plan is. And so I'm going to actually glue this envelope flap down. I didn't do that already. I don't think it's going to interfere with the closure at all, so I'm safe just gluing that one down. Oh wait, no, I didn't want to do that. Shoot, nope. I screwed up. Sorry guys. I'll just leave that open because I want to glue it underneath there. I was not thinking. Boy, I'm not doing very good today with you guys. I do apologize. Some days, though, that happens. I guess you just have off days in the craft room. And I'm just anxious to get this part of the journal done so I can continue to work on it with the little bits of lace episodes that I have planned. So I apologize for that. Luckily, I didn't stick it down for too long, so... And let's see, this one I screwed up again. Boy, I am not doing good. I didn't want glue here. So what we'll do to fix that, I'll show you another little trick if you're like me and you accidentally glued something you didn't want to. You can just take a scrap. You know, I was checking my printer the other day to make sure that I was cleaning it. And what you can do sometimes if you screw up and there's glue on something, you can just glue some scrap paper down to cover up your mistakes. So let's do that. I'm just going to tear off a piece of paper here. Then we'll be fine. So that's another way to fix this type of mistake. So I'm going to just, should have been a little straighter here. So let me just cut it straight here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue this over it, and that'll cover up my mistake where I was going to glue this down and had too much glue. So we'll be fine. So I'm going to put some glue around the outside because again I don't want to close my pocket. So that's what I'm trying to avoid here, and I'll put a little bit of glue on the outside here so that it should still be functional now as a pocket. So let's just double check here. So, and I didn't quite put enough glue on the edge, but it just needs a minute to dry, I think. So that should work still, and I should still be able to use it as a pocket on the top here. Yeah, I didn't glue it shut, so that's good. So now let's glue this down again. Hopefully I'm not making any more mistakes. All right. Now I can glue this tab down instead of gluing it to the actual thing. So I'll glue this to the back of this cardstock. So again, I apologize for being a little bit of scatterbrain working on this today. All right. And so that'll get glued to the inside of this envelope. So now we're going to add a couple on the back side of this. So here was my cover again, or the front part of this. And then if you're following along, I did do this little bits of lace cover. And this is what this signature is going to go into eventually, is in this journal cover. So, but let's decorate the back side of this. And I just, hopefully I didn't mess it up. I just lifted it up funny. So kind of the same that we did on the front side. I have some different little envelopes. I like to start littler and getting bigger, but you don't have to do that. So this one opens again at the top. So I'm just going to glue my decorative element down here. And then on the back side of this one, I don't have to worry about it quite as much because it's not as big a gap. But again, I'm trying not to put any glue where it might interfere with a journaling card on the inside. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on this edge. And that should still be a functioning pocket at the top. Yep, it just needs a little bit more time to set up. And so for this one, so the next envelope, I'm going to hook it under this top part. I'm going to hook it behind the piece of cardstock that I'm going to glue on top of the envelope. And again, all these pages are going to get decorated and fun things added to them. What's nice about this paper collection is it's light enough, so if you just wanted to journal on it, you definitely could do that. I mean, these pages are all light enough, so if I don't do a lot of decorative elements, I still can journal on the pages. So I'm going to glue this on the top of this next envelope. And I'm going to see where this, so this one I'm just going to use again as a normal envelope. And so I have the back side gets glued on this way. And if you guys are wondering, when I cut out these, I just kind of, you can if you want, just slip in like a piece of paper and draw around it. And so that's how I figure out how to make this angle right here right, is I just take a scrap piece of paper, like if this was a scrap piece of paper, you know, I can kind of draw around it and then I cut it out and then I use it as my template for this. So if you're wondering how I do that. And so again, this one, so if this is my front, just can't remember which side, which paper I wanted on the front side. So there's my top. If I had this one as my top paper. I think those colors look good together, so this one then I'm going to glue. So if this was in here, I would still be able to access. Sometimes I like to think about how I'm pulling my journal cards out to make sure that they still make sense, that I'm going to be able to, yeah, to grab them. So let's glue this one down. And then we can glue it to the envelope here. And then on the back side of this one, I'm going to hook it underneath this next envelope here. So I'm going to hook it this way. Yeah. So first of all, I got to glue this one down then. So again, I got to be careful where I put my glue. So I'm going to go around the outside edge of this envelope. and just the edge right here. Because I want it to be functional, and this one I cut off the top of this envelope to make it into a spot for adding a journal tag or a journal card. And so then this envelope that we just covered the back of, I'm going to glue it to this piece of paper that goes on here. So let's add this envelope. We'll glue it to this envelope. And again, all of these envelopes are on the back side of this larger envelope that I have sitting to the left of me. So that'll be fun, couple flips right there. And of course you can still add in more flips as you're working on the journal if you want. So this will be the page that gets glued down here. So I have an envelope it looks like to put here. And this one I'm going to hook on this side, but let's add this back piece to this envelope. And then here's another piece of cardstock again. It's going on the back side. And so I'm just going to glue this one. I'm just trying to rethink things through here if I change it up or not. That should work, because if it's on the back side here and I open this up, I'll be able to access it because this is the spine of the journal. That's what I always like to make sure, is that it makes sense for the spine. And again, you can, if you want it higher up or lower down or somewhere in the middle, you can do whatever you want. And so that one I'll just glue to the back of the cardstock. And again, towards, later on I might decide to glue, some sort of decorative cardstock on the inside of that envelope. But until I'm really decorating the pages, I'm not going to worry about it. And so that again is going to get glued onto here, but I have this envelope already decorated. So let's add this one also somewhere here. This one, let's see, if I hook that one back here, I could maybe put it like that. So let's do that. So I want to glue it right about kind of in the middle. This one is a top opening one that I opened on the top. So again, all my envelopes, most of them other than that one that I added with the folded tab that I did, you can easily do that if you need to. But I like to start with envelopes that have already been opened for the most part. So again, for this side, I'm just going to be kind of aware of where I place my glue. I just want it at the very edge. And since this one isn't very deep, I don't think I have to worry. I'm just going to go on the outside of this piece and I should be good. So this one I'm going to glue then on this. I do like how I can kind of intermix it in with already what's here, so yeah, I think I'll have this one sticking up. So let's add glue to the back of this one. Yeah, I think these types of journals are really fun. They're just, such an interactive element when you make the envelopes flip and stuff. And so then this one's going to get glued onto the back of this larger envelope. So again, this is just kind of my guts of my little bits of lace journal that I'm working on for that hashtag. I just wanted a journal for it that's going to look pretty with all the lace. And if I wanted to, I could have added extra, you know, pockets on some of these when I glued down the paper, but I think I have enough pockets with all of the envelopes. So that'll be, you know, some of the next things I work on, which I won't do those on camera. I'll be making journal cards and that fit inside the envelopes and then adding lace to them in the different episodes for little bits of lace. So, so just to show you again, this signature is going to go on the inside of this. And of course I have to add paper in here yet, which I haven't done yet. But that's what the cover will look like when it's done. And for now I just have this piece just pinned on because I'm going to do that after I sew in my signature. If you guys want to see how I sew in the signature, make sure you guys leave that below in the comment section, because then I will pop on and show you that if you are interested when I get to that point. Otherwise I'll just do it off camera because it's just basically the same way that you sew in any other signature. But just to go through real quick what we did with the little bits of envelopes, I'll be able to put a journal tag in right there, and of course it'll flip open, and then I can put a journal tag in up here. This one opens and I can put a journal tag or card in here. This one flips down, and this one I have a journal card already in it, just because you can see that. And then I'll be decorating this with little bits of lace. Also this one right here, I can put a journal card in that envelope and it flips up. So then I have, you know, all this space to do something fun with. And then once that's open, I forgot. So then this, you know, we open this way here, but we can close it this way or open it. And I have this pocket already kind of decorated. We did that in another episode. And then also right here, and this one I left open at the top so that I could add something fun up there. So that's kind of the front part of the envelope. I'll glue this down off camera, and eventually I'll add some more envelopes in there, and we'll do that in one of the little bits of lace episode. I'll probably decorate some envelopes with lace. This signature right here will get sewn in when I sew it in, and I'll decorate some of these pages with little bits of lace. So now we're on the back side of this, and I have this Franken page that we did, and this one opens up at the top. So you can add a journal card in there, which we will do. And I have these pages right here. Again, I could add, you know, some sort of envelope, another envelope in here, which I might do down the road, just to add another interactive element. We'll do something. I'll do something in there. I'm just not sure yet. And so then we close that, and then we're to the back side, which we just did. So again, that opens. I can add a journal card up there. This flips open this way. I can add a journal card right there. This one flips open. There's a journal card space there. Then this one has to open this way. And this one has the top spot right here that's open. You know, not all the time do you have to punch little holes. That you don't have to do that. I'll put some sort of frilly lace on the top of a journal card here so that it pulls out easy, is my plan. And then we have this space, and I believe this one has, on this side, you can add your journal card. Then there's kind of the back cover. So that is my construction of my little envelope flip part for my little bits of lace journal. And again, this signature is going to go inside of this journal cover, which I already did this one in the little bits of lace episode where I talked about the cover. So again, I wanted to thank everybody so much for watching today. I apologize that the video was a little bit scatterbrained, but hopefully it just at least gave you a basic idea how I constructed my envelope journals, and I hope to see you guys back later on in another episode where I actually start to use some of my elements once I've sewed this into the other journal. Using some of my little bits of lace to work on this journal. So until next time, have a wonderful day and happy crafting.